need you to do is to go back to slide 1. And we're going to go through how to match up corresponding parts. Now that you've had a chance to try this on your own, we want to see that you're matching these up correctly. So remember that I've given some advice in the last few class periods that we want to compare shape 1 to shape 2, and we need to be consistent with that. Shape 1 needs to be either vertical together in the same fraction, or it needs to be horizontal. So if you look at how I've color-coded this first problem, I hope you all agree that x and 5.5 go together. They're in the same position. Those two values highlighted in green there, they need to be vertical from each other or horizontal. They can never be diagonal from each other. And then yellow, the 16.8 and the 4.2 are in corresponding positions. Now that other information could be used to solve, but right now in this multiple choice problem, those are the ones that we have to pick from. Okay, so if we're looking at option number 1 here, we have 5.5 over x. That's good. Okay, now think about 5.5. It comes from what I would say shape 2. 5.5 to x, then the second one says 16.8 to 4.2. So let's look at that again. That's shape 1 to shape 2, but then 16.8, or sorry, I wrote that wrong. Shape 2 to shape 1, 5.5 comes from shape 2, and then the 16.8 comes from shape 1, 4.2 comes from shape 2. So this top answer does not work. Okay, they're not lined up correctly. Let's look at option number 2. So x to 5.5 stacked up together works. So that's shape 1 to shape 2. And then 4.2 comes from shape 2 though. And see how it doesn't work. So it's 1 to 2 and then 2 to 1. So let's look at the third option. Again, x over 5.5 is good. So that's shape 1 to shape 2. And then 16.8, shape 1 to shape 2. So this does work, okay? The last one doesn't work because that x and 5.5 are diagonal from each other. So this is shape 1 to shape 1, and that is okay. It's not my personal preference to do that. That is okay as long as over here, though, we needed to have the 5.5 on top. So if this fraction here would have been flip-flopped, then this also would have worked as an option. Okay? Let's look at example number 2, or the next problem. So again, my advice for you is shape 1 to shape 2. And x is here. It needs to match up with 51.1. So if x is ever diagonal from 51.1, we know that that doesn't work. Okay, so we could maybe immediately get rid of that third option. Okay, because they're diagonal from each other. If we wanted to color coordinate, I circled the 51, the x and the 51.1. The other options up there that we're looking at are the 7.7 and the 53.9. So we know that 7.7 and 53.9 are the sides that we're trying to compare. So looking at option number 1, that would be 51 is coming from the second shape, so that's shape 2 to shape 1, but then 7.7 is coming from shape 1 to shape 2. So that does not work. Second option, x again is shape 1, 51.2 or 51.1 is on shape 2, 53 though is on shape 2. So that's bad. It needs to go 1 to 2, 1 to 2. Let's double check that that fourth one should work. So we have x over 51.1, so that's 1 to 2, and The 7.7 is from shape 1. The 53.9 is from shape 2. So this is what our correct answer should have been on slide 2. Give me a thumbs up if you had that one correct before we started going through this one. Okay? All right. Sometimes we get going too fast and we don't realize how particular we need to be comparing these answers. All right, I want you to show me which answer you picked by show of hands. Everyone on slide 3. Did you pick option 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay, let's see how we did. A lot of people are picking option number 2. So we have shape 1 to shape 2. X's needs to be matched up with 46. And 8 matches up with 40. So if we're looking here, we have shape 1 to shape 2, 8 over 40, tongue tied. Used to saying the 1 first. X and 8 are coming from the second shape. Shape 1, 2 to 1, 2 to 1. So I do agree that second option is correct. Good job. Next slide, slide 4. Show me, did you pick 1, 2, 3, or 4? We got 3s and 4s being shown here. Let's check 3 and then we'll check 4. So 4.3 and X. And 59.5 and 11.9. So we know that X and 4.3 need to go together. The 59.5 and the 11.9 are in corresponding spots. So if we look at the third option here, we have 4.3 to X, and then we have the 59.9 to 11.9. So 4.3, if we call this shape 1 and shape 2, that is coming from shape 1. The X is coming from shape 2. The 59, however, is coming from shape 2 to shape 1. Let's see how this fourth option looks. So X is coming from shape 2. 4.3 is coming from shape 1. And then the 59.5 is coming from shape 2 to shape 1. So, yes, the fourth option is correct. Can you ask me a question?
I don't know. I mean, like, I get it, but I don't get why it's
Because on the third one, 4.3, would you agree, is on that first shape?
Yeah.
And the X is on the second shape. If I'm going from 4.3 to X, I can't then go from 59 to 11.9. I have to go in order. So like 1 to 2, it needs to go 1 to 2. So this one would work as if we would have flip-flopped those two. Okay?
I just always write them, but I don't know
Well, today is the day we're figuring out how to write them. Okay? All right, so X is being matched up with the 8.5. It looks like here on our multiple choice questions, we're trying to look at then the 51.7 and the 4.7. So those are in corresponding locations. Show me which one we should be checking. 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, let's look at number 2. So X is on shape 1, 8.5 is on shape 2, 51.7 is on shape 1, 4.7 is on shape 2. So we good to go there? Okay. Yes, that one is the correct answer. All right, last one here for this type. X and 5.6 are in corresponding positions, and the 73.2 and the 6.1 are in corresponding positions. Which one is correct? 1, 2, 3, or 4? A lot of people are showing me 3 here. Let's check it out. So X over 5.6, again, call that shape 1 and shape 2. X is 1, 5.6 is shape 2. Then we're going back to 73.2 is on shape 1, 6.1 is on shape 2. Okay? All right, good job. All right, solving proportions. Was this telling you if you got them right or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got direct feedback there on 7 through 10. So now that we have went through, again, how to match up these corresponding parts, we're going to complete a puzzle piece called Similar Polygons in Schoology. You're going to work through this on notebook paper. You're going to have two shapes side by side, and some of the values are going to have X's or T's, a variable, and we need to set up the proportion and solve. When you're done with that similar polygon puzzle piece, you'll go back to the second Desmos activity, which was this, but it says the word again at the end of the title.